and become the sons of God. Amen. You hear this? Even of them that believe on his name. Here, he said, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father appointed in his own power. But you shall receive power when? After that the Holy Ghost will come upon you. And you shall be witnesses unto me. Wait. Witnesses unto him. Mm-hmm. You got people running around talking like the Jehovah think, oh, we Jehovah Witness. Jehovah Witness? What's his name? You don't know anything about him. What are you witnessing? Here it is. Yeah. Everything you're doing, you're being taught of man. And man that's going about doing this don't know that all it is of the devil. Yeah. The devil telling you lies. He wants you to keep believing those lies. He knows that there's only one God, and there's only one way to him. Amen. Only one way to be saved. He knows that. Amen. But he wants you to believe there's so many ways. If that don't work, if you say, well, I don't know, is there really a God? He'd be like, yeah, is there really? I mean, who knows? Man could have made that up, you know. It could be something, you have some say, well, I don't know if it's a God or not. I don't believe all that. I believe there's a higher power. And see, what God has done is made it so you can hear about Jesus. It is him that you must believe on. Amen. Here it is. You must believe on that name. But he ain't going to make you believe on it. God preachers don't force you. Amen. They ain't going to try to tell you things, trick you to have it so that, well, you believe because they were very good at, like, persuading and tricking you. And Jesus said, preach the gospel. Here it is. Amen. To every creature. See, it's his word. That's why he said, what you hear my mouth warn them from me. It is his word. He is the one that does the drawing. It is not man. It is him. Amen. Here it is. Man ain't got to change up the word, add something, take it away, make it sound more exciting, more enticing, more intriguing. Got to do something that can have people interested, to get their attention. No, Here it is. Amen. That eunuch, he was reading the prophet Isaiah. He's sitting in the chariot. He come from Ethiopia. He's sitting there reading the prophet Isaiah. It wasn't that anything happened to get the man's attention. Fear God. That's why the Bible says. You have been listening to Church of the Lord Jesus Christ with Bishop Allen. You may hear him live every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. here, where the Master reigns, Gospel 800, WTMR, Camden, Philadelphia. Not pleased to him. Right. That's right. He ran to us and not we ran to him. Right. That's a good God. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right. Success for the black man in America depends upon suffering. You cannot never
is to separate. Separate you from that which is not your own. Yes, sir. And put you into your own and not out of your own. Yes, sir. Some of us love white folks so well that we said, I don't want to go no place where no white people are not. That's right. That's what they say about it. Well, the people of North said that they didn't want to leave in no boat with North until the water started pouring. Yes, sir. Right. The people of Lot said the same thing that you were saying. Right. But when the fire started falling, the earth started breaking up the rocks, and the people began to scream. They would like to have gone out with Lot. That's right. Right. Israel saw the truth of the warnings and accept the truth to go out with Moses. That night, when he said, up, every one of you, buckle on your shoes and let's get out of here. They didn't ask them who made you a judge then. They went on out with it. That's right. Right. So it will be with you. So it's important. We know you. To know. You are people. We know that you're doing this today. That's why they gain and keep the friendship of white folks. You can't do that. That's right. If you join up with them, it won't stand. Right. The Bible teaches you. Your agreement with hell will not stand. That's right. That's right. You will say, I did no thing. I went on and did as I pleased. He's not going to allow you to do that. After warning you, showing you your place and who you are, he didn't make you bow to it, whether you like it or not. That's right. If I myself was white people and was the ruler of you and white kind, and knowing the dates and time of the end of their world, as they know, brother, you wouldn't have to ask me to let you go. I would take you over here and tell you, beat it. You get out of here. I would do just like Pharaoh did. Pharaoh told Moses, get them and go. Yes, sir. Lest we all be dead. Right. Same thing coming here. Right. And the plagues and the destruction that is now falling America, it is to make America let you go. Yes, sir. I'm not telling you nothing that they don't know. Right. I'm not teaching them that which they do not know. That's right. These storms, these twisters, which you may see a lot of them dancing over the country this spring and summer, taking their most valuable centers. Yes, sir. Wrecking them. Right. You know by where they strike that they are guided by God, who is angry with the civilization. Yes, sir. And intends to bring them to their knees. Right. Hit them right in the towns and cities. Right. Right in the heart of that city. You didn't used to see nothing like this now. They don't destroy little farmhouses. They don't fell little trees out there where there's no need. They come in and fell your skyscrapers. Right. Yes, sir. Your home. Your stoves. This is a plague. This is the judgments that God is sending on America. He dropped down balls of hail like golf balls, right? Like baseball,
Greetings. I'm your brother, Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad. Welcome to another edition of Muhammad Speaks Radio, where once again I am your host, but today I have a co host. In the most holy name of Allah, who appeared to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. We forever thank Almighty God, Allah, in coming and raising in our midst of those 44 prolific years that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was with us. We thank Allah for coming and raising him up. It is in their great names that I greet you all with the greetings of peace. We say it in Arabic, Assalamu alaikum, but if you're tuning in for the very first time, it simply means peace be unto you. God's peace, that is. This is a prayer from the Muslims to whoever this word or message is reaching the ear of. And if it's reaching your ear, we're asking you, we're telling you, we're praying, we're asking the God for his peace and tranquility on your mind, your thoughts, and your spirit, and that may our spirit touch your soul, and also touch your mind. And it is in that spirit we come in. We don't come in to browbeat and beat you up and, let the truth, we allow the truth to do what it do. As the old saying went with our dear brother Ray Charles, let it do what it do, he said, right? So we thank Allah for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and coming and raising up the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we're here to share with you that great knowledge, that great wisdom, and to show you how first it works for us, so therefore it can work to you, and to allow you the opportunity, and you were just listening to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, so that you yourself can receive with divine guidance, divine wisdom, and also divine judgment. I appreciate you all tuning in. Once again, I'm your Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad. If you would like to call in this evening, if you're viewing us on social media, on our social media platforms, they're in the the on the particular forums that we're on. The telephone number is there for you. But if you're listening to us on 800 AM here in the Delaware Valley or WTMRradio.com, that number would be to call in for either questions or comments. 856-962-8178. That's 856-962-8178 or 856-962-8179. Please feel free to call in with questions and or comments. I do, as I stated earlier, have a co-host, and she'll be joining us momentarily. But I just want to say a few things about what we just listened to in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and real quick, as we also take this opportunity to thank the wonderful, wonderful national organization that we love and admire, that we get most of our information from when it comes to the archives of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is a well-oiled machine. This is the trusted, and through time, through energy, and through its work, where we can trust the archives of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the Nation of Islam and the history as it goes. This is an organization that is dedicated to just allowing you to get what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had shared with us, all of his records, all of his recordings, all of his writings, everything that he had, that he was given during his divine presence among us, when he was among us, is archived. Somewhere is archived. And that is a history that, dear brothers and sisters, that we feel as though all of us need to know, need to understand, and a history to study. To have such a great, great, great individual, great man like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad among us that did so much, and to see his name vilified and then see him misrepresented on mainstream media and also on social media. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad brings or comes with, as one would like to say, a lot of controversy, but so did Jesus, so did Moses, so did Abraham, and all the prophets and messengers of God all came with controversy because they were bold, they stood up, to the powers to be in the right way. And this is why we shared that particular message with you in the opening, because we feel as though we need to continue to give that message to our people and message to this particular country to hear it from the messenger of Allah. Yes, the messenger of Allah, as if we stay true and form to what the Holy Quran teaches, that Allah raises messengers among every nation. And in this nation, here in the West, this nation of the Western Hemisphere of North and South and Central America, that messenger that was raised up among us and raised by God Himself is in fact the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We don't know no messenger that or a divine figure in that did the kind of work and made the kind of impact that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam made here in North America. And I want to say that's why we archive and can't thank the organization called CROW, the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, so much for taking the opportunity to be the National Archives of the Nation of Islam. We thank our dear brother Shaheed Muslim, our dear brother Halif Muhammad, and of course the late and great brother Munir Muhammad, and all the wonderful members of CROW who are working on behalf of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, making sure that this information is always ready, making sure that there is a center place that is trusted, that is consistent, that has the consistency that CROW has over the years to make sure that this information never get diluted, because we're living in a tricky time, my dear brothers and sisters, with AI. As much as AI and the technology can do and good for us, AI and the technology can also do a lot of damage as well. And that's the world that we're living in. That's the kind that we're living in. So I'm just very ecstatic and great to be here. And I thank the wonderful members of Muhammad's Temple of Islam, number 20 here in Camden, New Jersey. We're located at 1157 Haddon Avenue here in Camden, New Jersey, a community that I am super excited about, that I get the opportunity in this space and time to represent the work and wisdom and program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad here in the city of Camden. We're working hard and strong and making sure that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's impact is made here in the city of Camden, with the work that we do, and his teachings still continue to remain the same and stay consistent with a group that is dedicated to his program and position. And we're just excited about that. I'm excited about the young brothers and sisters that we have there that are in training. And as the training never stops to all of us, but if you don't have a future, if you don't have young people around you, our future is limited, because that's what we work for. And I say I can't thank Allah enough for all the teachers at the Child Care Center, all the teachers at the University of Islam, and all the supporters and great people that do a great work in supporting us. I thank you all, and I'm truly humbled and honored by your support and your presence. My dear brothers and sisters, I know this is, once again, if you're just tuning in, I am your brother, Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad. I am your co-host this evening. We are about to introduce our other host, our dear sister, who's no stranger to Muhammad Speaks Radio, and she'll be hosting, I believe, next week, and she'll be hosting the show. And she's a wonderful and magnificent sister. But before we go into and bring her in, I just want to take a quick break to allow you to adjust yourself. I know we have given you a lot when you heard from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and then you hear a brother coming in talking about the greatest leader that we've ever had in our history and surge on as a people, since we've been here as original people, since we've been here on these shores, a divine warner and divine teacher. And we have to, brothers and sisters, take the opportunity to hear what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad have to say. It'll be good for you, be good for your mind, the impact that he has made on the Black community. And we're seeing such regression. The black community is going backwards because we don't have in the forefront of what the wisdom that helped the black community move forward in those days and times that we've seen throughout the 30s, 40s, and 50s, those years of great presence of black folks and every era that we had of that time of the early 20th century. A lot of that was with the catalyst of that impact of what we may call Black Power or Black consciousness or even the civil rights movement. The impact that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad made on all those groups is just wonderful and magnificent. And this is why we want to share it with this generation and then lead and show it by example as a community of what we can do in order to make impacts. So we're going to take a quick break. Brothers and sisters, don't you go nowhere. I'm your brother Minister Wasim Muhammad. The number once again is 856-962-8178. That's 856-962-8178 or 856-962-8179. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
North Speaks is a weekly podcast that tells of the soul and consciousness of the Black community. With show topics such as youth empowerment, education, women's impact, and civic engagement, North Speaks challenges the listener to not only join the movement, but be the movement. On the show, you'll learn from insightful guests who have demonstrated capacity in these fields and more, and I am your host, Nora Muhammad. Subscribe to North Speaks on YouTube or listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever great podcasts are found. Visit NorthSpeaks.com or follow on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at NorthSpeaks. Wasim Muhammad, the Delaware Valley representative of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Muhammad Speaks Radio airs every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on WTMR. You can listen to WTMR locally in the Delaware Valley on 800 on your AM radio or by streaming WTMRradio.com or listening to WTMR Radio on the TuneIn or iHeartRadio app. You can also watch the show live on the Muhammad Speaks Radio Facebook page. Listen to Muhammad Speaks Radio to learn how the life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad are being implemented to awaken the Black man and woman in Camden, New Jersey, and beyond. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday at 8 p.m.
And assalamu alaikum, my dear brothers and sisters. Welcome back. And once again, if you're just tuning in, I'm your Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad, your co-host this evening. This evening we have a co-host, our dear sister, who's no stranger, as you were just listening to, if you tuned in during the break that we have, you heard about Nora Speaks podcast, that I think is a podcast all of us should join on and follow this dear sister because she talks about some great topics that are very interesting. And Sister Nora, because it's so when you come on this show, it's so many topics that we can go on. But I mean, as we continue on part two of our conversation we had several weeks ago, and I also want to thank our dear brother, Crow member, brother Jamil Muhammad, for being our guest this past weekend. It really is no guest; he is our brother, and he's we tied to the hip with all of those brothers and sisters there at Crow, the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But as we are, talking to our dear sister Nora Muhammad, that, that last show, that warning our people about, do you know your numbers, and that's so important in the Black community because I just want to say, we our discussion is based on the value of the women in the Nation of Islam as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the information and program that he has given us of the Muslim Girls Training MGT and General Civilization class, and why it's so important that when you gather people together, it's one thing to give them spiritual guidance, but there could be no guidance and spiritual guidance without information. We got to arouse that spirit. We do understand, but if the spirit is aroused without the proper information to connect people, to connect families, connect husband and wife, mother and child, father and child, brother and brother, sister and brother. This is a precise program that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad give us, and this is why, and it makes the Nation of Islam, um, as we would like to say, have victories, be successful. So, Sister Nora, I'll let you chime in on that. Assalamu
Yes,
alaikum.
sir. Wa alaikum salam. In the name of Allah, the beneficent and merciful God, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah who appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I further bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his last and greatest messenger. And I greet you, Brother Minister, and the listening and viewing audience with the greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
Uh,
alaikum
uh,
salam.
Thank you for having me on the program again with you, Brother Minister. I really did enjoy the show last week with Brother Jamil. He's always a very insightful guest. It's always great to hear from our brothers and sisters at Crow. The podcast, talking about Crow, I have to say, and I always say that Brother Munir was a champion, I may say. For me to begin that podcast, I have to give our brother credit. And you were also a very strong supporter. But it's important to me that I share relevant, pertinent information with our community. And as you said, that what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has given us, we can certainly inspire our people. We can incite and ignite the spirit. However, what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us is practical information in how we can guide our lives, live our lives, save our lives, and plan a future together. And that's what I strive to do with the information that he's given me that I know is so relevant for our people.
Oh, praises due to Allah. With that said, what is the value of it? The woman's class, of
Mm.
women in Islam. There's so many misconceptions out there, and so much propaganda against Muslim women that kind of turn people off. But we see Islam picking up steam today in our communities. But I think what we have to understand, although that is natural, because that's Islam is our nature, and not necessarily our religion. We call it a religion
Mhm.
as the Holy Quran teaches us, but it's our nature. But the training of what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has given to our sisters in their sisters class that he left for us to be able to bring out the best in our women with their training modules, to be trained. Everybody needs training. We talked about that several weeks ago. But what is the value of that, Sister Nora?
Mhm. Is really invaluable. And, as I mentioned, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, what he gives to us is very practical as a people, male, female, and adults and children. And, specifically what the sisters in the Nation of Islam receive in the training. in the teaching and in the program. It's something that people pay for. I was just sharing this past weekend with a young sister how, people say to us all the time, if my sons were like yours, or they say things like, we see your children, talking about the children from the temple, and talking about their bearing, their comportment, their discipline. Sisters have asked us, couldn't y'all teach us those recipes? Can y'all, can I get a sewing class? And because they admire what they see. And so, we certainly invite sisters to come to the temple and learn more, and to be able to position themselves to take advantage of that class. But I think what we've been able to show to the community here locally is that what we receive in our class is beneficial to all Black women. How to speak, what to say, when to speak, who to speak to, rearing our children, taking care of our husbands, keeping our homes, knowing what to cook, how to cook it, what to eat, when to eat. It's just so much, and we understand, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us just how crucial and vital the woman is to the nation. And if the woman is uninformed, if she's neglected, if she is undisciplined, if she doesn't love herself, then the nation is at risk and is vulnerable. And so the saying, a nation can rise no higher than its woman, has really strong and substantial meaning. And so we have to understand then, if that is true, it is also true that we Black women have a target on us. And so it is not the aim and desire of our enemies that the Black woman regain a knowledge of herself, love her husband, love her children, and know how to care for all of that. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gives us that in a structure and in a format that's really second to none.
It sounds like to me as the other part of the class is this general civilization. And as we talked about the justice of all women's class, that is there, that, those who are in charge are there to make sure that the sisters are getting what they need, and just defending the rights of women, and but in order to defend the rights of women, in a world that is so misogynistic, in a world that's so male driven, that it is important for women to come together. It's justice that women come together. And it's so divine and so much wisdom how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad structured the Nation of Islam for growth of our people. He didn't just
Mm,
have the Muslims involved. When you talk about general civilization, just know how to act at home and abroad. That's just, all of our people should have that. We didn't get those kind of training after going 400 years in bondage and worst treatment ever, and just all kind of trauma, and just say, okay, all right, now y'all emancipated now, and just go, and we winged it from the hip, and then we come through Jim Crow and all the things, and our people, as always, as resilient as Black folk is, that we did the best that we could do, with
yeah.
under the circumstance, as we did during slavery. Hell, that's how we got here. And our people are resilient, and just to have that, recurring classes and being repetitive, and each generation get an opportunity to get what other generations received during the time of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is so very, very important. How important is that? How do you see that? With the younger sisters that you are training, and over the class of training, Sister Nora, with what you received, and how much value is that?
Mm. It's really an honor. It's one that I take very, very serious. I understand that, I am responsible for tending the garden, so to speak,
Mhm.
and, trying to be as responsible as I can be, as delicate as I need to be, as firm as necessary. it's really a balancing act because, as you say, we must have justice and we must give justice. And there are a lot of mistakes that we make amongst each other in our families and in our communities because we've just been misinformed, we've been misled, we've been mistrained. And so the goal is to have a retraining so that our behavior and our conduct will match our nature. And that's what I love about the class, so that our nature shines through. And so, often we have to peel the layers off, or as I like to say, trim the fat, from the world so that that beautiful sister that's there can be revealed. And if I may just say also, you mentioned the misogynistic world that we live in today. That the world that we live in is just so troublesome. And that word misogynistic, it really struck me because, I know what you mean when you say that. However, when women hear that term as it's been used in modern times, it's just it can be confusing,
Mhm.
that, and also the phrase toxic masculinity.
Ah,
These terms that are being thrown around, it confuses people. It confuses our boys because I'm supposed to be myself, and myself is, I'm rough and I tumble and I want to dominate because that's just my nature. But then I'm being told that my nature is toxic, right? So it's important that we teach women and we help women understand that not just our nature, but the nature of a man, because we will misunderstand a man's nature as God created him to be, and we'll take what the world is saying and call those natural traits toxic. So that's some of some of the things that we talk about is helping our sisters understand and put in context what's real and what's some sensational buzzword that we really should dispose of.
yes, ma'am. You put that so well, Sister Nora, because it's a lot that's out there. As you know, the Black community, male and female, is under assault. The
Right.
moral fabric, the economic fabric. All of the things that makes us a community. I heard you mention earlier about the nation. And why talk a little bit to our women in general and men why we say the nation, and it's not just
Mm.
an organization. Let's talk a little bit about that, Sister Noah.
Yes, we are a people, brother minister. We
Go
are,
ahead.
Black people. We've been given this idea of ourselves that we're the descendants of slaves or the ex-slaves here in America under the oppression of white supremacy and in the master chattel slavery, and like we're nothing. We're just the remnants or the leftovers or what's been left behind from that experience. And so we know that Allah came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, as is written in Genesis. And I say, yeah, I always like to refer our people to the book of Genesis because God did make a covenant with Abraham and said that your people would be lost from their own and that I would go. And when we read that scripture in Genesis and we look in the mirror, we'll recognize ourselves if we have comprehensive knowledge. And so that covenant, we believe, is referring to the lost tribe, us here in North America. And so we are a nation of people. We're not just neighbors that live on a block, right? We're not just segregated communities from, I'm in Camden or someone else is in Philadelphia, or North Philadelphia is separate from West Philly. No, we, the Black man and Black woman in North America, we are a nation, and we are not taught to believe that because as many people were conquered and divided, then the intercessor rules both. Rules the brother on the left or the brother in the east and the brother on the west, right? So we don't want an intercessor between us if it's not God himself. And so we know that we are a nation of people. And so, I think that's important because we have to have strong families. Families build strong communities, and communities generate a nation. And so we don't single ourselves out. And so whatever we do, I'm talking about the fathers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the work that we do here in Camden and around this country, we believe we're doing it for the benefit of a nation. And a nation starts locally, but we are a nation.
Yes, and I think it's right as timely and what with the opening message we played from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who's speaking to us as a nation and talking about this as a time for separation. And as painful as sounds to a lot of our people, I think that we in the nation of Islam, those of us who are registered under the sun, moon, and star, freedom, justice, and equality of the flag of Islam, that we call followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, have to do more to and help to convince our people, not only in the message that it is time for separation, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad so succinctly did when he was among us, those 44 prolific years that he was among us. He showed that as he was telling us we are a nation, he was operating as such, not just on a national level, because that took years to build up, and everybody have humble beginnings. But locally, the ministers were operating as a nation, and we have to do more of showing our people that we can separate, right, of ourselves spiritually, mentally, economically, socially, all the isms that we can find, all the categories of self-independence. Because if we're waiting around and as we see what happened to every great nation that has had its turn because of its injustices. And this is why we echo the Honorable Elijah Muhammad so much, and so much to our people, because we don't want them to good Lord to sleep. Because it seems that we keep making the same, as they call insanity, when you keep making the same mistake over and over again, that the only route we're going to go is we're going to force, we're going to march, we're going to demand, we're going to command that we get our inalienable rights in this country, and we are citizens too, and all that's fine. But brothers and sisters, as the great Billie Holiday say, Mama may have,
Mhm.
Papa may have, but God bless the child that got his own. We can all get kumbaya, but I'm gonna make sure that in my house I got heat, I got air, I got all the essential things. I make sure in my bank account, right? As I'm a part of an organization or whatever I'm a part of, whatever flag I say I am, but I have to make sure that what goes on in my personal, and if Black folk think like that on a global level, how important is that to our Black women and men, Sister Nora?
Yes, sir. I was thinking just earlier today that it appears that, Black folks care more about the saving this nation than the Caucasian. I listen to some of these political leaders or pundits or commentators just because I want to know what our people are talking about and how in the direction that they're leading our people. And it just seems like we are so much more committed to quote saving America than America itself. Whereas I think, well, great that you have the energy, the exuberance, but direct that towards where it's needed, right? America is going to take care of itself. And we should be cautious and careful to think that we are, in the heart and soul of that operation. And so we are a nation and we have to think about what we can do strategically amongst ourselves. And I would say and suggest that certainly history has shown us, and current day reality has shown us our place here in North America. And our place should be thinking of what we can do to do for self. I mean, we saw what happened just in this city, a week ago with the storms, right? We saw what happened just over the weekend in Philadelphia with those storms that they call microbursts. Some say that they were tornadoes, right? We see what's happening in Mississippi and places around the country, where these storms are ravaging. And I'm thinking, I remember Katrina, and I remember those people had to rely on the federal government. And Canada got there before the federal government got to them. And so we have to think about the infrastructure that we can build, because if we don't have the assistance of the government that we're paying taxes to, then we have to be able to assist ourselves and each other. And if we don't think as a nation and collectively, then we're going to be in trouble. And I think that we're seeing hints of that. The messenger talked about it in that opening about what's happening to this nation, and we're seeing hints of it. And I think it's time that we recognize what's happening in front of us.
And that value, that leads me into the value, going back to the value of our women, as our dear sister Amina Muhammad put some words in the comment section there of our social media page. He said, words from our messenger. How much more valuable are our women who are man's fields through whom we produce our nation? I don't know any other way than the words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and you can tell that's the sister, that's the mother of the House of Crow, right?
Yeah,
To remind us of what the messenger said, because he
that's
made
right.
the truth so plain and simple and simplistic that what other if we want substantive change in the Black community, Sister Noah, it has to start with the woman. Wouldn't you agree?
It has to, Sister Mina has a radio in the head. I was reading that section from Message to the Black Man before we came on the radio, The Black Woman, which I encourage everyone who's listening and watching to get that great book, Message to the Black Man in America. And, the woman is from which the nation is going to come. Right. And so, I mean, just thinking about just our physical health, right? And we understand that the condition of a woman's body, the condition of a woman's mind when she's carrying a child impacts not just that child, but if that child that she's carrying is a girl child, then that mother's condition, physical condition and mental condition, is also going to impact that woman's grandchild,
Go ahead.
because that girl child that's in the womb of that woman has ovaries, right?
Go ahead.
And once a child is born, she has all the ovaries she will ever have. And so the mother's state of condition, so it's just so important that we don't just think selfishly about our own individual lives and just trying to find comfort and thinking about just me. We have to think about the nation. And if our sisters don't recognize their value, if our sisters don't recognize that they're important to God, if our sisters don't recognize that they're the second act of creation, if we don't understand this, then we are in a world of trouble. And that class, the MGT and GCC class, is a class that is unlike any other, is a class given to us by God himself, whether you believe it or not. But those who are local and see us, you recognize the benefits. You might not understand that God part, but you know that there's something special that's being produced in that class.
Oh, my dear brothers and sisters, you are listening to Sister Nora Muhammad. I urge you to go online on social media and follow the Nora Speaks podcast page, where she has great conversation about so many array of topics that I think that are relevant to women and men. Because if a woman is our first teacher, and she is, we just need men to stand up and help to build an environment for our women to thrive and to be successful in. And that's the role. I don't care how much we talk about this toxic masculinity and all that, sister. Without you and without us, as men, we have no future, right? We have no future if we just keep having babies and don't have men and institutions to train them up in, and don't have where we can stop wasting time begging others to do right by us and to do the best by our children. Why don't we get together, put our hands together, and build up our own what we can do? And this is what we have shown here in this city of Camden. It's not just rhetoric and conversation to us here,
Mm.
who those of us who are working and doing our best to work the program, right? And it's quite necessary because we're showing you that when we focus on self, we can't sing the kumbaya, we are the world, in this day and hour and time, because the world has its foot in the future on our necks if we don't get stand up. Even here in the city of Camden, if we don't come together, we don't band together and show our unity and what we can do as a community with each other. We see our community slowly turning in different directions. And that we've seen that happen so much. And when it goes to the opposite, brothers and sisters, we don't stand a chance. We can't compete with those who've been running the country for 400 years. We can't compete with that unless we decide to get together and band together
Mhm.
and do something. Not just focus on them, not put them as the enemy. That was not wasting that unwaste that energy that I think we put too much energy towards that. We gotta keep the fire on. We gotta keep the fire lit. I'm not saying don't keep the fire lit. You know what I mean? Because that's how you deal with, as I say, Satan got to cast out Satan. You gotta keep the fire lit, right? But we should focus more on ourselves. I'm having great conversation with our dear sister Nora Muhammad. Go ahead, sister Nora.
Yes, sir. I have a clarification and also a comment. Nora Speaks is found at Nora Speaks, not Nora Speaks podcast. I had to
Okay, got
clarify that. Yes, at
that's
Nora Speaks. Yes, sir.
yeah.
But also, you know, this the news of this parasite that is impacting fresh produce. Now, one, we have to be careful of these social experiments where they, do this fear mongering, and now all of a sudden, as we're trying to encourage our people to eat fresh fruits and vegetables, now we're like, oh, I guess I'll go back to my hot dogs, my hot dogs and my bacon. So be careful of the fear mongering.
Go ahead.
Parasites, bugs, they exist in food. And the challenge that we have is because we're not growing our own
Teach.
food, right? So we're
Right.
talking about nation, right? We're talking about the importance of what we eat, how we prepare our foods, how we cook our foods. If we are going to rely on others to be the source of our food supply, of our water supply, then forever. I mean, maybe we have to start that way, but we don't have to continue. We can have a plan to make a difference, to change that. We're in a very, very vulnerable state, but I just want to say that parasite, I think it's called cyclosporin. Brothers and sisters, don't allow our enemy, an enemy of truth and justice, to make us afraid to eat food that's growing out of the earth.
Go ahead.
And
Go ahead.
particularly, it says, pre-bagged, pre-washed, pre-packaged. We should be making our own salads, right? Make your own salad. You don't have to buy a pre-bagged. I mean, how much more convenience do we need someone else to chew it for us too? I mean, these conveniences are dangerous. And so we're seeing this. And we've had E. coli issues before with the food. There's been legionnaires, so these things do exist in nature, but we have to be careful about who we are exposing our health to. And so it should be our ultimate goal to grow our own foods and to feed our own communities.
Well, talk a little bit about on that particular note that things as we always had those scare tactics since we've
Yes.
been here. What's those things that are healthy for us, for our people, to the fear mongering thing. What they do,
Mhm.
and this is what the boogeyman, right? It's the boogeyman, and there's usually things that are good for you, as you said earlier, just now. Pardon me. But Sister Nora, tell the things that we've learned from Messenger Elijah Muhammad of what it is that we can do. For example, when
Mhm.
foods, I mean, where water, pardon me, have bacteria in it
Mhm.
and things in it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad back in the 30s taught the Muslims to boil your water, boil it and then drink it and store it, and then it's drinkable. Because you're getting all the impurities out. Because heat and all of those things. Talk to us about what food,
Yes.
the heat of what the fire does to it.
That's right.
All right.
Listen, we are not cavemen. We do not eat. We do not like raw food, raw
Go ahead.
meats, and so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did teach us to boil our water, as you said, brother minister. And I know some people say, "Well, I buy bottled water and boil that." and boil that as well, because that bottled water that you buy, it's coming from the same supply that your municipal or your township water is coming from. They just put it in a bottle to make it convenient for you. So definitely boil your water. We also, our vegetables, we should be cooking our vegetables. Cook your vegetables. You don't have to cook them till they're limp and they don't have any life in them, but do cook them so that they can, because, and all food has some sort of bacteria in it, because this world is just no longer pure. And so cooking food and at a specific heat, it will eradicate certain issues like this parasite that they're talking about. Now, I will say there is no heat that's going to destroy that worm in that pork. So don't think, well, Sister Nora said I can cook my ham and I'll be okay. You cannot cook your ham and be okay. That worm, that trichinosis worm that is in that pork, I mean, you don't have to take my word for it. You can go to YouTube and watch these worms in people's brains and their eyes and other organs causing diseases, brain diseases, arthritic diseases, high blood pressure. So definitely we want to stay away from the pork. Also, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that, and now they're talking about the fruits and vegetables, that we should eat our fruits raw, because that is in its most healthy stage. But if you're concerned about the produce and eating it uncooked, then wash it very well, and then you can peel the skin if it's your fruit. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has a wonderful book called How to Eat to Live. How to Eat to Live, and he lays out exactly the foods that we should eat. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad also taught us that we should not drink raw juices, because the raw juices from the vegetables, for example, that are not cooked can still have bugs, worms, parasites, can still have that in that. And as Brother Minister said, that heat is what we need to deal with that. And I'll just add one other thing. Rice, right? We are taught to brown our rice. And I remember I was a young sister in MGT class, and I said, now, to a sister, I said, now, why do we brown our rice? I thought it was just because it gave it a nice color. And the sister explained, well, rice grows out of the earth. And so not only do we rinse the rice, but we brown the rice because that heat will kill any germs or any bugs that's there. And I remember, Brother Minister, a sister said to me, because we just can't accept that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is just right. So the sister said, well, I already eat brown rice. I said, well, that's good. Brown, your brown rice. So, sometimes we just don't want to accept what the messenger has given us.
Yeah, so I know I've heard things about people putting baking soda on the top of their fruit when they clean it. Do baking soda have any significance, Sister Nora?
Absolutely. Baking soda, apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, those things are really good at helping to eliminate some of those bugs that are on our foods. And in fact, if maybe men aren't in the kitchen as much, but sisters, like, even if you do, let's say you want to eat meat, you eat chicken. If you're cleaning your meat or cleaning your vegetables with baking soda or lemon juice or apple cider vinegar, you can feel the difference in whatever it is that you're cooking. You can actually feel it when you touch it. It really does make a difference.
All praises due to Allah. Once again, brothers and sisters, you are listening to Sister Nora Muhammad giving us a class on the value of the Muslim class that's affectionately known throughout this country, as since we have social media, as the Muslim Girls Training and General Civilization class. This is a class that should be set up, and it should be guarded and guided, and the information, since we have time is cutting short. It seems like the days, as is written, the days will be shorter and our hair will be getting grayer faster, all of these things. So we have to tell it every now and then, but get you to come and participate and be a part of. And Sister Noah, in our few minutes, and we got a few more minutes more going on. I just know last time when Brother Jamil was on, I don't know what was going on with this technology. The thing was going down so fast. You'll see me looking up again to see what's going on with these batteries and things, access to it. But we talk a little bit about the civilization side of it, the you
Mm,
know general civilization class, and why it's so important. And I heard you say that men is not in the kitchen that much. I think men need to pay attention to, because I think that a lot of our ailments, it's special to have, your partner, your woman, your
mhm,
wife, who's dedicated to just those things that, traditionally that we would have our mothers and our women and our
mhm.
sisters dedicated to. But, as you see, not only the divorce rate, that people are just not getting married these days, for
Right.
whatever reason. And I'm not getting into that, this Ed Samuels or whatever these guys' names is they get on social media. I'm just saying, my dear brother, and this is, I can say this to the men, because this civilization is starting to encourage men, because they don't want to take up responsibility, they don't want to take up duties, they don't want to be traditional. Sometimes women don't want them to be traditional,
Right.
but I don't know how we can survive without the foundational, core foundational of family. The essence of the core of what family is and what family mean to us. And brother, if you eating out every day,
Mm,
if you're not cooking your own foods, if you're not putting the loving hands of a black woman on your food that love you, love your children, all of these things are necessary, in the cooking of food. And if we're eating out and eating fast food, let alone fast food, and let alone as they say, the food crisis in the urban center, at the local places that we eat at and things like that, or this processed food, it's going to damage our health so much. And just talk a little bit about the
mm.
that we got about that, of that importance.
Oh my goodness, that is so, so important. The health of the nation starts in the kitchen.
Mhm.
Absolutely, 100%. And that is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. And that is a proven fact. And so if we don't know how important it is to cook, and microwaving something is not cooking, if we don't know the importance of it, we don't know what ingredients we should not use, if we don't know the ingredients to use. And also, one of the things that we talk about in the MGT and GCC class is helping us detect the products that are put in foods that are damaging for the health. So much so that we teach this is now teach your children. And so there was a parent or a teacher from the child care center who saw our children in one of the bodegas, and they were gathered. They turned the package over and was reading the ingredients on the package and just said, no, we can't have this. And the person was like, I've never seen children do that. Because what we learn, we have to teach our children as well. And there's so much fat, there's so much sugar, and there's so much salt in these foods that we buy outside of our homes to make it palatable or hyper palatable, so that it gets to the point where, brother minister, where a home cooked meal just doesn't taste good because it doesn't excite those areas in our taste buds that the food companies are manufacturing. And there's an entire science that psychologists and bioengineers do and partner with food manufacturers so that they know the crunch, for example, the texture of foods, the color of foods. And interestingly enough, the foods that are most attractive are red and they look like apples, the color of apples, or lemons, they're yellow, they look right. So if we see red and yellow and green or purple, right, that excites us. It's because those things are naturally occurring in nature, right?
Go
So our
ahead.
enemy will take something that's natural like that and then mix his concoctions in his laboratory and put it on the shelves. And because we're living in a microwave society, because our men don't have women home cooking for them, and you know, when men are hungry, brother minister, they don't have too much discernment. There's not a lot of, I mean, especially if a brother that's not a Muslim who's used to fasting. Men
Go ahead.
don't have a lot of patience and discernment when they're hungry. feed me, Seymour. so, so it's just so important that meals are prepared and are ready so that when men come home from work or have to go to work, then they have something healthy to take with them.
Yes, man, that's so very important. So I hope you're getting the message out of that, and the message I'm giving to brothers, let's settle down and make a good choice, and find ourselves in the company of a great woman that should look like our mothers, right? And find ourselves in that company and go on, and that's how we change the neighborhoods, house by house, street by street. We get so out there, way up in the plane in the sky, 30 miles high, and let alone up on the mother plane, right? But let's come right on down to the basic units of civilization, which is family, that's taught in every social norm anywhere around the world. And that's family. I don't know how we're going to get around it, because we take these messages that's given to us, that's given out to us, even though it took you giving the message, but you came from a mother and a father, right?
Mm,
Regardless of the circumstances, but you can't talk against that which made you. That's how silly we sound in these conversations. So, we have to echo that we're traditional. Let's get back to that old, as an old time religion. You know what I mean? The truth of things, and let's get back to those basics, and so that we can balance our community out by balancing the family.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just want to thank you again, Brother Minister, for having me on the show. And, right now you mentioned the podcast. I'm in the midst of a series called Know Your Numbers. And the first episode was about our blood sugar, our blood glucose. Currently, this week's episode is about our blood pressure. I'm also going to do one about body weight and about cholesterol. We
Mm.
have to know what our numbers are. And I know sometimes we may think things are so out of control that there's nothing we can do about it. So I don't even want to know. But we can't stick our head in the sand, because it is, in fact, so easy. It is so easy to change course. We just have to know how to do it. And so I believe that it's important. And I think we aren't encouraged, Brother Minister. We don't go and get physicals like we should. Our children should be getting regular checkups. Now they're looking at our children, and they're seeing that children now have fatty liver disease, which was commonly known as alcoholic fatty liver disease, because it
Mm.
generally occurred in people, mostly men, who drank a lot, and in their 50s, 60s, 70s, their liver would have all of this fat, where now they're seeing children as young as 10 and 12 with fatty liver disease, also with atherosclerosis, which is hardening of the arteries, plaque in the arteries, cholesterol and fat. And so it's something that if the sister doesn't know how to feed her family, how to look after, how to care for, then it's a health threat. And so it's been a pleasure, and I'm very excited about what we have to share. And then I'll also add, listen, you might say, Sister Nora, I hear you, but I'm still not trying to eat this lettuce. I'm still not trying to eat these vegetables. Listen, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us about the powerful navy bean. The navy bean has magnesium, has
Okay.
folate, has fiber. And fiber, if we want to bring our cholesterol down, if we want to manage our blood sugar, fiber, fiber, fiber. And so go ahead and make you a pot of bean soup. You don't put any ham in it now, but make you a pot of bean soup. You can learn how to make the mighty bean pie for a healthy dessert. But there's definitely ways that we can improve our health that doesn't cost us our interest, because sometimes we think, Brother Minister, if we eat healthy, but I won't have the interest in the food that I'm eating, and that's not so.
Oh, praises due to Allah. Well, Sister Nora, I thank you so very much. I think it's next week you're hosting this
Yes,
particular
sir.
show. Correct. And I can't wait to hear from you as we tell so others. So many people tell me, Brother Minister, I like your show, but boy, I love Sister Nora. I said, I
Thanks
do
for
too.
telling.
When she's on it, you have such a way of communicating the truth and making it easy, because that's what we're concerned with. How can we get this truth over to our people? I thank you as always for being so gracious with your time, dedicated to this work and this mission. Probably one of the best helpers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in this country, and
All
what you do
praises to
every
Allah.
day. to help the program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and us here in the city of Camden. I know I can't thank you enough in Camden City, Camden County, and others around in South Jersey and the Delaware Valley. Can't thank you enough for all the contributions that you make to our communities that day in and day out. And this is something that that we have to talk about. That's special about women who come through that classroom,
Mhm.
and we want others to come through that classroom. We want you to come down to 1157 Haddon Avenue in Camden, New Jersey. And a real quick note before we go, I want to put up, I want our people to, Sister Nora, to support our efforts that we
Mhm.
have here in Camden on Haddon Avenue as we're trying to, you talked about bean pie and bean soup. We in the beginning, the precipice of opening up the University Bookstore and Coffee Shop there on Haddon Avenue, right next door to Muhammad's Temple, and also a podcast studio along with the corporate office to and tell so many great things that we got coming and the work we're doing here in the city of Camden. But I want you all to support that because when you supporting us, every dollar, just about every dollar that we have, we're going to put, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad trained and taught us, back into our community. This is what we're doing. And we can do it so much on a larger scale, on a bigger scale, as we have shown you for years, brothers and sisters, that we're sincere, that we put our money in the community. So much you give your money to others, and you see it go right out of our community.
Mhm.
I know this, sisters, because I we helped to rebuild the child care center right next to the hair store, and most of us don't own the hair stores, right? Right. So I know, and I stood right there, and I said, I must give out these flyers to make sure it's a call. Yes, sir. We're going to take this call, Sister Nora, real quick,
Yes, sir.
but we'll get back to that because I want to make something with that. I want to get our caller. Caller, you're on the air. Assalamu alaikum.
Brother Minister. This is Brother Steve calling. I want to thank Sister Nora. I really enjoyed the show tonight. And I'd also like to say, brother, I had a chance to meet the brothers from Crow, Brother Munir and Brother Shahid Muslim. And they were really, really good men.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna tell you. And I just wanted to call and just give my comment, brother, and let you know that I'm listening every Tuesday night to you, brother.
All praises due to Allah. But man, Chief, what's going on, beloved? It's always good to hear from you, brother. Thank you, brother. Those encouraging words. Sister Nora, you got anything to say on that?
Brother Minister, it is so good to hear from our brother. We miss seeing him on Haddon Avenue. I tell you that. But brother, I thank the brother. All praises are due to Allah. It is our goal to be able to provide information for our people, and correction and guidance when necessary. And we strive to do so with love and tenderness, because our people have been beat up so much by this world that we know, we've been bruised. And so we do it with love and with tenderness. And so we thank the brother for his ongoing support, and I pray that he's doing well.
All praises due to Allah. I thank that brother too as well. It's good to see him the other day. I ain't seen him in a minute. So I wanted, to say, I want to continue to say as we close down this show, Sister Nora, I'm gonna allow you to take the last words on this, but I'm trying to set the stage of why it's necessary they should support us, because we've been showing you for the past 20 or more years that when you support the Muslims on Haddon Avenue, that you're supporting yourself, you're supporting your community, you're supporting people who's putting back in your community. You're supporting people who are showing you what we can do together. And those who don't support, we're showing you what we can do even without your support. But you should support. You should support us. You go, you don't know the other people that you support and make this country rich. So we're making it general. If it ain't you, continue to do what you're doing. But if it is you, we just want to prick your consciousness as your brother and your sister, real humble to you and all that when you spend your money other places, and not a dime or a dollar go in your community. But when you support the Muslims, when we come here and ask you to support us, at the end of our social media pages, at the end of our social media events that you have, there's a website there says for more support or for more support or information, contact temple20.org. There's a hit the like button, and not only that, on our social media pages, but go to our website and find out how you can do more in helping us to contribute to what we're doing. We're not talking in the sense that we telling you what we're going to do. We've been doing it there on our community. We help to implore our people. We help to give jobs to our people. We help to
Mhm.
clean up our neighborhood, make our neighborhood a decent place to live, in spite of your support and heavy opposition. But we keep going because Allah is God and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his last and greatest messenger. Sister Noah, what say you?
Yes, sir. I think that our people would be wise to support the efforts that Temple Number 20 is doing with the upcoming university bookstore and coffee shop and everything else that we have going. And our contribution to the community is a sincere one, and we do it and we ask our people humbly because we have to have a start. And I'll go back to that man in that TikTok video after our brother was unfortunately that child was killed in South Carolina by that store owner, that convenience store owner, who happened to be Asian, and we know a lot of Asians own stores, corner stores in our community. And he shot that boy. He chased him and he shot him and he killed him. And he was found not guilty. And so the community talked about boycotting Asian stores. And a TikToker came on and said, "Oh, you want to boycott Asian businesses?" And he said, "I dare you." He said that we supply your electronics. He said we supply your cars. He said talked about the hair salons or the hair stores. He talked about the nail salons. And as offensive as that man was and intended to be, he was right. And so he said, "Why don't you get together?" He said, "Why don't you go to the bank? Why don't you support yourselves? Why don't you support each other?" And so, brother minister, let us say let us say what the TikToker said. Why don't we support ourselves? Why don't we unite our nickels and our dimes as we see every other intelligent people doing? And what we do at Temple Number 20 is we give something back to the community. And as you said, we have wonderful teachers who are employed at the Child Care Center who do a wonderful job with our young people. And these ladies have the opportunity to find gainful employment in the city of Camden with an administration and leadership at that facility that's going to treat them with justice, as well as the children who attend there. And those families are going to be treated with justice. And, we know our children can be difficult to manage, some more so than others. And yet, places who have difficulty managing some children who are deemed more rambunctious or unruly, they send them to us, to our child care center, because we happen to know how to deal with the Black child. And so we provide service to our community with love. We are not interested in being like others and being bloodsuckers of the poor. That is, we've had enough of that. And so we want to make sure our communities are clean and safe and have the provisions for which we need. And so we encourage you to support us, and in supporting us, you're supporting yourself.
All praises to Allah. Thank you, Sister Nora. And that is our time. We hope that you tune in again next week. Our dear Sister Nora will be hosting this particular show, and I urge you to set your timer and everything down. So I thank you. And on behalf of myself, Sister Nora Muhammad, and members of Muhammad's Temple of Islam, number 20, here in Camden, we say, love your black self, love your black kind. I greet you as I came to you with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
that this word will be multiplied into their heart. Yes, sir. To cover the 30 or more million people of ours. Yes, sir. Here in America. Yes, sir. We are happy to say to them that listen, for those few minutes, that we are your brother and your sister, and that we want you in this cycle of safety from a Savior that is well able to save you and me. Thank to Master Barack Muhammad, Almighty God, for coming to save you and me. And the word that you have heard of him, please take them to heart. Go forth wherever you may go. And tell others of your kind. Yes, sir. That the Savior have arrived. Yes.
I want to talk about the program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I want you to understand the program of why you're here, why it's necessary for you to be here. You can never outgrow it, but the program is necessary for us to develop. This is a temple, a place of learning. Everything we do is necessary for your development and practice of the development. Because Islam, brothers and sisters, is a way of life. This is not a religion.